Well, this is my 32nd scale Tamiya F-16 build. This was taken before I started doing a little better videos. This is a build I took to the 2023 Nationals. As you saw in the pictures there, I did end up doing a lighted cockpit, a full Aries wheelbase, and as you see there, the canopy opens and closes, which was definitely a learning experience. I think if I did this build again, I may not do all of those items in it, but it was fun. The model is not very easy to transport, but that's okay because I'm done showing it. So that is set up on a servo. Later in the slides, you'll see a picture of the internals with all the wiring and the servo. The canopy is not glued on at that point, so I did end up having to do some filing to the canopy to get it to fit a little looser so that it did sit down. And I think in the judging, I probably did lose points because of this, but you know, it was fun for me. So that's what this hobby is all about, having some fun. In my teenage years, I did a lot of sci-fi models, so I always wanted to do some lighting on an aircraft, so that's what I ended up doing. This was just a practice video with the camera. I took out my audio, and the concept on this project was to do a really cool paint job. As you probably have seen, if you look at any other builds on my channel, I don't typically go for your standard gray jet paint jobs. I do enjoy something more colorful, something more challenging. And with this build, I wanted people to walk by it and think that the markings were decals, and then kind of blow their mind when they realized that everything was painted on. I think, again, in judging, I may have lost some points because a lot of people thought that the markings are painted on, and you'll see how I do that in the future on the rest of this video. So there's the Aries gun, or Aries wheelbase. Very nice. They do not fit perfect. There's some shrinkage there, so as a lot of people have experienced with Aries products, they are beautiful, but they don't always fit perfect. So that definitely added some difficulty in the build. Again, if I did it again, I think I would not do that. I would just use the Tamiya plastic. But the Tamiya kit fits beautiful with all the stock parts. There's the tail. I figured if I can do this tail in paint, then I could do the rest of the kit. So here's the stages. First stage is white, second stage tan. Got a light orange there, masked darker orange, some red, and then I masked over that, and then I pulled everything in there. See me doing the secondary masks, that fine line around the lettering. On this one, it would be the NTM, NATO Tigermeet. See how I did it all white, and then I did a secondary mask, had to be laid over that just perfectly, and painted the black. So there's the tails. The only way that I knew I could handle this project was to do small pieces at a time, so I had pre-mixed colors. I actually took those pictures so that I would make sure I didn't mix up the colors down the road for future pieces. And then there's the fuel tanks. These were especially challenging because of all the curves, trying to get those stripes lined up correctly. And then there's the few pieces, and at that point I was committed. I had to close up the fuselage. See, there's the servo and all that for the canopy. Got to the point where I had the fuselage almost glued together, trying to check fit on certain items. I did a lot of wire connectors, so that the entire lighting system was pre-wired, and I still can. The tail comes off, and it's got 2 connectors. There's my landing lights. Those are hardwired. There was no other way to do it. There's the little side blinker lights around the intake system, and that's before the lenses go in. And then we got the spotlights on the tail, and then the wingtip lights, and then the cockpit lighting, which is much easier to see there without the canopy on, but kind of gets covered up with everything, but that's fine. It looks pretty cool. We got strobe on the tail, and then the very tip there has a different kind of strobe. So yeah, there it is. I'm committed. So, and then I did want to put sound. The original concept was you know, kind of like the old kits that I think Tamiya came out with at one point, with a Lancaster that had propellers that moved and had sound and lights. So I wanted lights, action, and sound. So I found this little sound card that I can download a sound bite online. And then I was racking my head on what am I going to do? How am I going to fit that inside of that tiny model? And it ended up going in the base, so it didn't matter where the sound was coming from. It came from the base. So you'll see that little gray pipe on my left hand. I ended up putting the speaker in there just to kind of try and give it a little more of a sound box. Again, this is one of my first videos, so I cut out all of my original blah blah blahs, and I figured I'd just do a sound over like I am now. So, but pretty happy with getting to that point. But once I got to this point where I had all the difficult things done, like the tail section was definitely the toughest, and I was committed. I had to get the fuselage done. Ended up having to finish the fuselage in about a 3-week period right before the show, and I was working on it until up to the night before. I had to drive down to Vegas for that show. Was it Vegas? No, that was not Vegas. That was 2023 Nationals was in Texas. So I don't show it in this video, but the tail section comes off. That's the way Tamiya has it set up. The rear ailerons come off, and the nose cone is magnetically stuck on, and I final assemble that. The display, yeah, there's the sound bite card as I'm jabbering away, and the little speaker. But getting back to how do I get this very large 32nd scale model on an airplane and not have it damaged. So the ailerons came off, the nose came off, all the bombs and missiles and all that came off, and I made the stand or the base big enough so that it fit in an under seat storage with the aircraft inside it. So if I had to do it again, I don't think I would have done it that way. I would have figured out a way to internally put a battery inside the fuselage, because I ended up running wires down the wheels, the landing gear, and I cut grooves in the resin wheels. See right there, there's the landing gear. I rebuilt those out of brass and then run wire through them and through the hub and out to the wheel, and it was a huge pain in the ass. So there's the slot in the bottom of the hub. So it works, but it was a huge pain in the butt. So if I were to do it again, everything would be glued, and I would have an internal battery, probably pull the engine out and put it there, or the bottom of that engine on the Tamiya kit, the little cavity comes out and it fits pretty good, where I probably could have pulled that hatch out and put a battery inside of it. That was a replaceable battery. So definitely learned something on that build. But again, it's in my house. I'm not showing it ever again. If I do transport it anywhere, I won't disassemble it. So that's me showing the connection points on the tail section. So the tail pulls off and you plug it in. And it did leave a little gap because of the amount of paint and wiring that went into that kit. That tail does not sit down all the way flush. So I'm sure at the show, when the judges were looking at it, they saw that there was a gap, and they dinged me points for that, which is fine because I got a lot of positive reaction over the build. And in the end, I'm the one who is the one who gets to keep it, and I couldn't be more happy with it. It doesn't show it on the videos, but all of that masking, none of it came out perfect. So if anybody else is looking at the video going, oh my gosh, that kit was masked off perfect and there's no bleed and there's no touch-ups, there were a lot of hand touch-ups, and they were difficult because there are so many different colors. But in the end, by the time you get it clear coated and flat coated and washed and put it all together, it would take somebody probably hours to find all the flaws in the paint. So like I said, in the end, I'm happy with it. So there's the there's the fuel tank. Happy with the way it came out. Again, Tamiya makes everything so nice. It all can be pinned and removed, and everything comes apart. And showing the invisible seam where the fuselage top and bottom, where the front and back go together. Showing off my lights. Anybody who wants to build an F-16, I think Tamiya's kit is the F-16 kit, and I think was done in 2010, but still a fabulous kit. There's the bottom stripes, gray and silver. There's the top, started out with the faded red to yellow, and then there I go. I'm on the road. I gotta get this thing done. I had 2 weeks to finish it. I painted that whole fuselage in about a 2-week period, and then I did a pretty quick job on the base, and then there she is, all done. And we'll do a little demo here. This is my final demo before disassembling it and putting it in. I can't remember if I left the sound on for this. I think I might have. Lights, sound. Oh, canopy was supposed to be up, and then it goes down.